Hello everyone, this is the Sports Spiral, and today I'm going to review college football week 12 and preview the final week, rivalry week of the regular season. That is week 13, so we're almost done with the regular season. Things are getting very exciting. The playoff is really taking shape, but we still have a few pivotal games left. So we'll see how things turn out. And then also those conference championships have huge playoff implications. But for now, I'm just going to review week 12. Georgia had no trouble against Charleston Southern, winning 56-7. Ohio State also won 56-7 over a Michigan State team that was good, but now they're really dropping off. So yeah, I guess it's not too much of a surprise that Ohio State would score that many points, but good defense there from the Buckeyes, and that moved them to second in the rankings. And then Clemson, they're starting to come back with a 48-27 win against Wake Forest. That was a pretty big win for the Tigers. Oklahoma, they were falling back after that loss to Baylor. But they win in a close one versus the Iowa State Cyclones. West Virginia upsets a struggling Texas team 31-23. Iowa wins over Illinois 33-23. Notre Dame, they've been coming up winning 55-0 over Georgia Tech. So watch out for Notre Dame. Could they make a playoff run? Alabama wins 42-35 in a close one against Arkansas. Not the best defense from Alabama there. They've had a few close calls, so we will keep watching the Rolling Tide to see if they can make the playoff. They will have a pivotal conference championship game for the Georgia Bulldogs. Cincinnati wins in a big one versus SMU 48-14. That's good for their playoff resume. Michigan drilled Maryland. Wisconsin got a close one versus Nebraska. Nebraska's been in a lot of close games, but they have only won like 3. So a disappointing season for Nebraska. Pitt was able to beat Virginia. Pitt's been doing pretty good. And as far as the Heisman race goes, Pickett is looking pretty good, but because Pitt's not quite that playoff level team, I don't think he's going to be the top Heisman contender. And then UAB went against UTSA. I thought UTSA is undefeated, winning that one 34-31. I thought UAB could pull off the upset, but UTSA still undefeated. And then Florida. And I have the wrong scores. I mixed up the scores for this one. But Missouri gets the win over Florida 24-23 in overtime. Dan Mullen was fired, another mid-season firing after this one. So the Florida Gators will have to look for a new coach. That would be another good job. Whoever goes there, we have USC, LSU, in Florida. That's the main ones right now. So we'll see who goes there. That will be a very interesting topic as it develops for next season. But in the next game, the Gators will be vying for bowl eligibility. They have to win that game. And then Baylor was able to avoid the upset from Kansas State, winning 20-10. South Carolina upsets Auburn 21-17, although Auburn was without quarterback Bo Nix. And then Utah, I thought they would beat Oregon, but not in a blowout fashion. They win 38-7 and kick Oregon out of the playoff race. Mississippi, they didn't have too many troubles against Vanderbilt, winning 31-17. Oklahoma State is looking good. They shut out Texas Tech 23-0. So now I'm 16-3 on the season, and 16-3 for this week, and on the season I'm 147-48. So I'm doing pretty good for college football. But here's my week 13 preview. So on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, I think Ole Miss will best Mississippi State 31-27. Cincinnati, they need a good win against East Carolina. I think they'll get a pretty good one. We'll see what the committee thinks of this. I think they win 38-17. Currently, they're at 4, but it's going to be interesting. I think they have a chance, but they have to win out and win out convincingly. Arkansas, I think they'll be able to handle Missouri 40-24. They are ranked in the top 25. Missouri is not, so I think Arkansas can get that one done. Utah, after the win, I think they'll be able to get it done versus Colorado 42-20. NC State versus North Carolina, some struggles for North Carolina, but I think they will keep it close in this one. But I do think NC State slips by the Tar Heels in this one. And then on Saturday, Florida, they have an interim coach. Florida State, they're kind of on the way up. Both teams are 5-6 and trying to find bowl eligibility. I think Florida gets it done. I just think there's more talent and more experience on this team. So yeah, I think Florida gets it done in a close one, 27-24. This game might get a little trashy because these teams are rivals, and they're also vying for bowl eligibility, and they're also not playing too well. So we'll see how that one goes. And then Georgia, number 1, should have no trouble against their rivals. They're not really rivals because they're not even good. Georgia Tech, 45-7. I think that would be an easy game for Georgia. The big one, Ohio State versus Michigan. So Ohio State, they've been looking really good. Michigan's been looking pretty good besides that loss to Michigan State. I think Ohio State gets this one done. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think Ohio State can win kind of comfortably versus Michigan, 44-31. And then Baylor, they've been looking good. I think they'll be able to win versus Texas Tech. Might be somewhat close, we'll see. But I think Baylor gets it done 37-24. Wake Forest has been looking good, but their defense has failed them at times when their offense can't do it well. I think they get it done versus Boston College 44-38, but this should be a pretty interesting game. And then Alabama, they've had a few close games recently, but Auburn's not as good as they were earlier in the season. So I've got Alabama here, 42-14. Should be an easy win for the Crimson Tide. And then Oregon, I've got them over the rivals Oregon State. And Oregon State is usually not that good of a team, but they are looking better this year. So I've got Oregon in a close one there, 37-31. Penn State is going against Michigan State, and Michigan State is on the way down, so I've got Penn State there, 30-27. Wisconsin, they've been looking pretty good. I think they got it done in a close game versus rival Minnesota. Texas A&M versus LSU, this is the one that went to 6 overtime a few years ago. This is a pretty good game usually. Texas A&M is ranked 15th, but I think they got it done 35-27 over LSU. Oklahoma State going against Oklahoma. Usually I would pick Oklahoma in this one, but the Cowboys, the Oklahoma State Cowboys have looked pretty good. So I've got OK State here, 40-38 over the Hoosiers. And then we have Pittsburgh versus Syracuse. I think Pitt can win that one to finish with 10 wins. Clemson, they're on the way up, so I think they shouldn't have too much trouble with South Carolina. I mean, Shane Beamer has brought South Carolina to a pretty good place, but I don't think they're quite good enough to keep up with Clemson, even though Clemson's not as good this year. And then Notre Dame going against Stanford. Notre Dame looking good. Shouldn't have too much trouble against Stanford. We'll see what they make for a playoff run, although one thing to remember is that Notre Dame was beaten by Cincinnati, so I don't think, unless Cincinnati loses the game maybe, I don't think you can put Notre Dame in front of Cincinnati, so that would be an interesting development. And then we have BYU versus USC. I think BYU wins a pretty close one here, 41-34 over USC. So that is going to do it for this video. Please make sure to subscribe and like. And this is the Sports Spiral. Bye.